We've developed a course that invites nurses to become the empathetic witness, to become that compassionate ear that their clients will lean into and begin their healing journey. This course, Becoming 401, is amongst one of my most favorite courses in all of the courses that we've developed here at the Becoming Institute. I think the reason for that is because it's a bit of a bookend. It's where you will begin, but it's where I ended. And it is in that awareness that having gone through the development of level 1, 2, and 3 of our trauma recovery certification program, and then the development of our 6 and 12-month RN-Psychotherapist credentialing program, it was after doing all of that work that we came to the place where we then wanted to offer nurses a free course. And I called it Becoming the RN Psychotherapist, with a subline, Reclaiming Depth in Clinical Nursing Practice. Because I think there was a substance, an intention, and a depth that was initially a part of our training that is now lost and has been given off to other disciplines. And oftentimes, nurses feel like they have to leave nursing in order to become the psychotherapist. I wanted to create a program where nurses don't have to repeat their undergrad journey. They don't have to get a master's degree, but they could learn a skill set, a therapeutic process that honors who we are, and yet at the same time advances us into a territory that we've always belonged to. So Becoming 401 is a 3-week course. I wanted to make it short, but I always think in threes. I think phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And the 3 weeks is progressive. It builds on each week, but it's going to help you build on what you already know in phases, with breathing space in between to actually reflect. So this course is designed to help nurses explore trauma through a holistic lens and to navigate the transition from traditional nursing practice into psychotherapeutic care. The other thing that I want to say here is you don't have to leave your specialization. What you can do is optimize your skill set in that area. So if you are a nurse that is in cancer care, I can't think of a group of people that would require this particular healing method more than those who have cancer and who are feeling constantly threatened in that moment. And then there are nurses who are working as diabetic nurses, as public health nurses, as nurse practitioners, who are seeing people struggle on a daily basis, and yet constantly having to send them off to somewhere else where they have to repeat their story, and sometimes the re-traumatization of the story, rather than to a skilled therapist who now has the tool to help them process and release all of that. Each week of this course combines live online instruction with reflection activities and discussions. There's a guidance that is offered to the participants through an understanding that trauma affects us holistically, that trauma affects the body, it affects our genes, it affects the way that the balance in the body, it impacts the mind, so the beliefs, the thoughts, the values, the cognitions, it impacts the soul on that deep moral level. It also impacts the spirit in terms of identity. Who do you say you are? Who does your client say they are? These are the layers that have to be healed as someone moves through a trauma recovery journey. You'll gain an introductory understanding of narrative therapy and somatic therapy and internal family systems therapy. And all of those techniques are woven into the Becoming method, but I want you to understand the ways in which they come together, almost like a puzzle, into the Becoming method. I want you to see how these approaches align with trauma recovery and how they differ with conventional talk therapy. The final session is going to demystify Ontario's psychotherapy regulations. And one of the things that I think nurses know that they do, and yet it's been framed in a particular way, it's called clarifying safe and effective use of self, right? Or what we call C-use. And so what we're going to do is we're going to clarify how psychotherapy has seen safe and effective use of self, and then merge that with the ways in which nurses use themselves to bring healing to others. We're going to outline a pathway for nurses to practice psychotherapy, whether that is within institutions or independently. And by the end of this course, you'll have a solid grasp of holistic trauma care and a clear sense of whether or not pursuing certification with our institution or another institution is what you want to do. I'd like to invite you to explore our 12-month trauma recovery program. I'd like you to also explore our RN-Psychotherapist credentialing program and to see whether these programs are a good fit for you and where you are in your career. It's been quite the journey, and I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. I am deeply moved by the work that nurses do, and one of the values, the sentiments, the beliefs that I hold is that nurses are the great healers of the 21st century. And in fact, that nurses are going to be the peacekeepers and the peace builders for a world that is traumatized and constantly fighting wars instead of looking inward and healing the wounds that would end the humanitarian memory of war and basically put us into that place of peace. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. I welcome you to the Becoming Institute.